Good Saturday morning, everyone. Meteorologist Davis Wells here. We have sunshine out there to start things off for our weekend. A pleasant view looking out on our downtown camera this morning. We are tracking our next big impact, which really for this weekend, looking at really just at sunshine and warmth, highs into the 80s. A pretty dry forecast for much of this weekend, but things start to get a little more interesting as we start to turn in towards next week. We're staying with that sunny and warm trend through this weekend. We're keeping an eye on the tropics because we're going to actually have some local impacts that we are tracking. And then later on, looking at a windy and dry forecast that actually could lead to some hazardous conditions associated with potential fire and burning and wildfires, things like that. So we are keeping a close eye on that as we are dealing with the dryness and even some winds starting to increase. Temperatures at this hour are into the 50s, a little warmer towards the lakeshore, 60 in Port Clinton, 62 in Sandusky, 54 up into Monroe, Toledo, Bowling Green as well. Looking at radar and satellite, it's pretty quiet around the area. We do have some clouds further off to the east, closer towards Cleveland. But for us, we are looking at clear conditions overhead, and we're expecting that to continue to be the case as we go in throughout the rest of the day. Here's the very latest on Hurricane Humberto. Right now in the Atlantic, right now a Category 4 hurricane with wind gusts up to 175 miles an hour. And you can really see that well-defined eye there, and even all that white that you see around there, that's actually the thunderstorms that are kind of helping fuel this storm in of itself. It is moving off to the west at about 6 miles an hour, and this is going to continue to track up towards the northwest, but then curve out to sea. Thankfully, not looking at much in regards to a U.S. landfall with this one, but we are also keeping an eye on the next potential system known as potential tropical cyclone number 9. Right now, just down here, just off to the east of Cuba. Right now, winds only about 35 miles an hour, but you notice with this track, as it continues to move off to the north, how we start to get this cone of uncertainty here, this bigger circle, not necessarily a track, more just an area. Well, there's a bit of inconsistency with the weather models here, but how does this play into our forecast? Well, let me show you. As we take things hour by hour, at least through Saturday, looking to stay dry, even the same thing as we head in towards Sunday, pretty quiet, great day for the race for the cure. But then when we're talking about that tropical activity that I was just showing you, here's that moisture from the potential tropical cyclone 9 as it starts to push up towards the Carolinas. Kind of a unique pattern that's setting up here, right? So we've got high pressure up here near Lake Michigan, and then we've got these low pressure systems down here just off the coast of the Carolinas. What that's going to do is actually funnel in some of that wind, and we're going to actually see those impacts right off of Lake Erie, seeing those northeast winds, and we could actually have some decent winds associated with it, maybe winds up to 30, maybe 35 miles an hour. And that leads to a big danger here because, of course, we've got very dry conditions across much of northwest Ohio. Most of the area is associated with severe drought, but we do have the areas of the extreme drought here along the Hancock-Wood County line, so areas even over towards Deschler or even closer towards Signet right there, seeing some very dry conditions. So with those strong winds that are expected to move in, as well as the dryness that we're dealing with, that's going to elevate fire risk, at least as we head in towards next week, probably more midweek, closer towards Wednesday. So we're going to continue to keep a very close eye on that. We're looking to stay warm and sunny for today, those highs reaching into the middle 80s. Again, holding on to that sunshine for much of the weekend, even for the race for the cure, looking to be in the 60s at the start of the race at 9:30, mostly sunny conditions, even going throughout the race itself, looking to reach into the middle 60s. But for tomorrow, we will be looking to warm up quite a bit, back up into the middle 80s, still holding on to that sunshine. But you notice this dry pattern really staying with us. Don't even have any rain chances on the extended forecast. But because, again, of those winds that are expected to increase with the tropical cyclone that's moving up our towards the east coast, and then the high pressure that we have further up towards Lake Michigan, that's going to lead to the elevated fire risk Wednesday at least. I wouldn't be surprised though if we held on to that for Thursday, maybe even into a bit of Friday as well. Then by next weekend, looking to stay still pretty warm and above average temperatures into around 80 degrees. Still staying dry. We don't have very much in regards to rain in the forecast, but we'll have to keep a close eye on that post-tropical or potential tropical cyclone number 9, because depending on the track of that could maybe bring up some rain chances. But at this point right now, it does look to stay clear of us. And really the only impacts that we are expecting to see would be those elevated wind gusts. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Saturday.